This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're gonna acknowledge me.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Main Event Review. Thank you very much for once again tuning in. Just off the back of Night of Champions, so you know the drill. We'll be reviewing the two matches that have occurred on Main Event, and then we'll be reviewing Night of Champions. But before we do that, we will review some things that happened on SmackDown as well. We had a new Women's United States Champion in Julia, which I was very happy about that booking. I did say that Julia would most likely be next in line for Zelina Vega, given that she pinned her, I think, for one of the Money in the Bank qualifying matches. And that basically propelled her to getting this match and getting the much-deserved victory there. So of all the three new women's NXT stars that have come up the roster, it looks like Julia is probably the quickest to get the title and is the first one to get a title there. It helps that she is on SmackDown, and given that on Raw, the titles are quite competitive, especially for mid-card in Raw. There's no surprises that we haven't seen Stephanie Vaquer or Roxanne Perez come across those titles yet. But Roxanne Perez is doing great things with the Judgment Day. I suppose that she might become a future women's tag team champion with Raquel Rodriguez, given that Liv Morgan's away for a while. And I'm sure Stephanie Vaquer will have a lot of things to do on the main roster too. So it's a great start for Julia. And I was very glad that she was able to take the title off Zelina Vega. It didn't seem like her run was significant, and WWE knew that, and they made the decision to give Julia the belt, and hopefully we see a pretty solid run. They'll take her to a match at SummerSlam, which is also great. And yeah, very excited for that. We also had the promo that CM Punk put out, the Punkonomics promo, which I'm going to call it, coming out to John Cena's old theme. It's always a sensational feeling, and it just makes you feel good when you hear that theme come out. It's an instant classic, and to be honest, the Thugonomics character was what's really got John Cena to where he is today. That was pretty much the start of it. So it was great that Punk came in, botched a few of his lines, couldn't get the words out, but overall did a really good job in getting that promo out in what seemed like they didn't have a lot of ample time to do. But Punk came out with a decent comeback there, and that kind of finished off the last of their head-to-head before Night of Champions Main Event, which is what we'll be reviewing today as well, and that result, as we all are aware. But other than that, there is some bad news, unfortunately. Don't think I'll be going to Crown Jewel here in Australia. I lined up for tickets for about 2 hours and I couldn't get my hands on any. And to be quite honest, though, it was still expensive to get flights to Perth. I live in Melbourne. Perth is about a 4-hour plane ride, and it's approximately 500 Australian dollars, which is pretty expensive given that it's just a domestic flight. So wasn't really keen to spend the money on those flights, and given that I didn't get tickets, was probably a sign to say that that's not going to happen. And I do have the marathon as well, as I mentioned, the Melbourne Marathon. So I've been trading for that, and I was sort of willing to cancel that just to go to these three shows because it is the farewell tour of John Cena. But I think all up would have cost me about $1,500. And if the price is that high, I might as well save an extra $500 or $1,000 to go to the US and potentially watch a PLE there or even a WrestleMania. So yeah, unfortunately, I won't be going. I would have loved to do some stuff for the WWE podcast, given that it would have been a first live show I've been to. Well, I have been to a house show when they've toured here before, but never been to a live show where there's been the proper scripting or Raw or SmackDown or even a PLE. So gutted, but maybe they might come and do a house show in Melbourne. If they do, I'll definitely attend that, and it'll be a lot more easier for the wallet as well, for sure. But without further ado, we will get started. with the main event show. That's what we're here for. The first match going on between Kairi Sane and Ivy Nile. We had Kairi Sane getting the victory here with the insane elbow. The right decision here, given that Ivy Nile's done virtually nothing. And I think Kairi Sane deserves this. She did get a few victories on Raw against Liv Morgan and unfortunately was involved in that injury, to which it wasn't really her fault. That was just a freak accident. So can't really blame Kairi Sane for that one. But maybe we'll see her fight against Io Sky. There is nothing for Io Sky at the moment, which is like so frustrating. She's a person that's not putting the belt down. It seems as though that women's division in Raw is overshadowed by the Intercontinental Championship, and that's creating a lot of buzz at the moment, which is great. Like, a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, that feud for a mid-card belt is insignificant. It should be for the World Heavyweight, Women's World Championship. I always get them too confused. I don't know why, but I like the idea that they're pushing the Intercontinental Women's Championship belt and the mid-card a lot higher, and I'm glad they're doing it there because it's putting buzz, it's getting excitement, and it's creating hype there. We've got two veteran superstars, and now the entrance of Lyra Valkyria, it seems, improving this feud to make it a triple threat at SummerSlam, which will be awesome. And I think that's why I think Kairi Sane could potentially battle with Io Sky. You've got Asuka lurking around as well. So maybe an all-Japanese fight for the belt. Potentially won't be a triple threat, but maybe Damage Control getting a bit of feud there. I think that's what makes sense for Io Sky at the moment, unless they go back to Rhea Ripley. But I think, yeah, they really need to do something with Kairi Sane, but they need to do something with Io Sky as well. That's what I get taking out of that. So maybe this match puts momentum for Kairi Sane to look for that, or else she might team up back with Asuka and go for the World Women's Tag Team titles, but we'll have to see there. Excuse me for getting all my belts mixed up. But that was the match. Ivy Nile, not really sure what's going to happen with her. She's in no spot to go for an Intercontinental Women's Championship. And yeah, she keeps losing matches. So that's all I've got for her there. We then get the second match, which was the War Raiders taking on A-Town Down Under. We had a massive crowd backing for Austin Theory, which was awesome. And I think, although this feud is taking forever, we are almost at the point where they are going to split up. It's great how they're hyping this up. They're very much making Austin Theory look like the big baby face here, not getting into the match. Grayson Waller constantly rejecting tags and just trying to do this all himself. And then when he finally injects into the ring, all the fans go crazy. And I have to say, the spot where he basically lifted up Ivar and put up a World's Strongest Slam or a Body Slam, for lack of a better name to call it, on him was insane. That's a 350-pound man that Austin Theory just picked up seamlessly. And spots like that is what gets fans going crazy, and seeing the strength on such a young talent that Vince McMahon did see a lot of potential in is great to see. And it looks like they're steering to that direction as well. Something that I think eventually is going to happen. We're going to see Austin Theory turn face and be a baby face, and Grayson Waller continue to be that heel and potentially betray him as well. But Grayson Waller is the perfect person to do that with, given that he's got this arrogant persona. And I really like Grayson Waller. I know that he's Australian and I'm going to have my biases, but I'm a big fan of Grayson Waller, and I think he's doing a really good job in elevating Austin Theory in this. Well, the end of the match kind of finished up with, when that body slam happened, Austin Theory was about to set up for his finisher. Grayson Waller tagged himself in as they went to the corner and basically tried to do everything himself. He did his infamous run into the ring flip from outside the ring inside, and he got caught by Eric, and Ivar set up for War Machine, and the War Raiders got the victory there. So Grayson Waller pretty much cost them the match, given that he wanted to try to do it himself, and that just continues to place tension on those two. And eventually we are going to see these guys split up. Maybe they might get lucky to get a SummerSlam match, but I highly doubt it. But I think that would be the perfect time for them to split up before that. And given that it is a 2-night event, it might be a good thing to see. But we'll have to keep tabs on that. Maybe on Main Event, or hopefully on Raw as well. As I think this deserves Main Event screen time as well, or main roster screen time for that matter. And now we get into the Night of Champions reviews, and I got 2 wrong. The rest I got correct. I didn't predict all the matches because some of them were just formed pretty much last minute. But the ones that I did get wrong, I'll go through. But we'll start with the first match, and that was Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, which I was surprised that became the opening match, but I sort of get it too, given that CM Punk and John Cena was the main event. You want to start with something pretty strong there. We had a few sort of heel moments from both superstars, which is great to see. You had Cody Rhodes targeting Orton's back at the start of the match. You had Orton almost going for the punt on Cody Rhodes, and then him also removing the top turnbuckle. And that led to Cody's victory in the end because he did throw Randy on his back on the turnbuckle and then finished him off with the crossroads. So as predicted for myself, Cody Rhodes got the victory there, and he'll most likely face John Cena. But looking at Randy's face, he doesn't seem too pleased, so there'll be something to look out for, a potential heel turn from Randy Orton, and that might create a feud with Cody Rhodes, a feud with Cody Rhodes that I think is what everyone is waiting for. I think since Cody Rhodes has been here, he's done an amazing job. Obviously, he's carried the WWE on his back, and obviously people aren't a fan of his character being too, I guess, political and whatnot, pretending to be a politician and trying to please everyone. But he's had a very good run since he's come back. But the one thing that has been missing was the feud with Randy Orton, and having that feud, given that they've had a long history back since Legacy was formed. I think these two, with a program, is something that everyone is longing to see. And I like that the idea of them having the match for King of the Ring, just showing that they've got that rivalry, because it sets up for something that can happen in the future. Like now, Randy Orton sort of has a reason to turn on Cody Rhodes. Before that, he didn't really have any reason to do it unless he was just trying to go for the championship. But now that Cody Rhodes has sort of defeated him in a sort of fair match, where Randy Orton really tried to dirty his way to winning it, and the fact that then Cody Rhodes gave him credit at the end, and Randy Orton not looking too pleased, it does plant the seeds for a potential feud where one person is a heel and one is a babyface. What would have thrown a spanner in the works is seeing Cody Rhodes become the heel and Randy becoming the babyface. But I like the idea of Randy turning heel and turning on Cody. And I know that the fans probably won't boo him, but at the same time, you want to have one person bad and one person good to make the storyline kind of more interesting there. So we'll look out for that moving forward. But Cody Rhodes is the men's King of the Ring winner. So he ends up going forward and advancing to facing John Cena there. We then get the second match, the street fight between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. And I like what Matt mentioned on his review. The promo before the match kind of got this more interesting, or got this more hyped for the crowd and myself too, given that they've had a history in the past. And when they made this match, it felt very rushed, given that they just sort of put the feud to the side and it was more focused on Liv Morgan. And then all of a sudden, they went back into it. But it was great because the truth is that they never really sorted their issues out, especially when Raquel costed Rhea the title against Liv Morgan. So it was good to know that they have like a real history, and this was really good. This gave the opportunity for Raquel Rodriguez to, battle in the ring. And this is what I hate about Saudi Arabia, given that and it's not me trying to sexualize and stuff, but the fact that they have to cover the women and the men just doesn't seem fair. And I just think that if you want to have an event, I understand your culture and rules, but just having those kind of restrictions, it just didn't look good for me. The suits are awesome, like the way they make it and stuff, but I could imagine it'd be hard to wrestle in them as well. And I think if men are going to be basically half naked too, then women should have the same right as well. And I'm not an equal rights activist, I'm not any of those, but I just think that this is one of the issues that I have with Saudi Arabia here, and them trying to be essentially showing people that we're in line with the world and we're good in that aspect, but they still have restrictions to people. So I think this is the issue that I personally have with having events at Saudi Arabia, and it's a lot of controversy with this, but obviously WWE is trying to make as much money as they can, and they're getting a lot of money from this. But at the end of the day, they're still putting their restrictions. So they're not necessarily really keeping up with how the world is today, and especially the Western world too, which yeah, I find quite strange. But the suits are cool. I do like the suits, and it's not for me to have a look at them sexually either. It's just what equal rights do you have as a country? It doesn't really show that you do when you show these restrictions. But anyway, going into the match, we had Rhea Ripley getting the victory here. We did get Roxanne Perez come in and interfere with the match, which was good to see. It shows that Roxanne is getting involved a lot with this feud and with the Judgment Day, and that might lead to her and Raquel getting a tag team belt in the future. But we had Ripley pull off a riptide from the table that was kind of leaned on the corner turnbuckle. The ref had to hold the table, which was quite funny, but I think it was necessary, or else that table would have probably fell off, and then there would have been some severe consequences for both Rhea and Raquel. But there was a riptide off the table. Rhea did get the victory here, but I think the real winner has to be Raquel Rodriguez. Given that this was probably her first PLE solos match in I don't even know when. Given that it was a street fight, they took a lot of hits. Raquel set up a lot of spots. There was a lot of things that Raquel did to really elevate her, and I really think she was the true winner here. She didn't need to win the match. She just needed to show that she can put on a performance, and she really proved that, especially as a single star too. Ripley is always going to get the victory here, given that she is pretty much the face of the company. She's a fellow Aussie, which I love to see. But she's been winning titles for a long time and being up there for a very long time. But Rodriguez now has a right to kind of elevate, I think. And I think this match proved that, and I think we will see that moving forward. So credit to Raquel Rodriguez, a very impressive performance there as well. We then get the third match of the night, the one that I was most excited for, and the one that I did get wrong. It was Karrion Kross taking on Sami Zayn here. I love the fact that Karrion Kross, and we always talk about him on Main Event, finally got a match at a PLE, and one that was significant. But for his career and for him to be elevated, I didn't like the idea it was at Saudi Arabia. And the reason why is I think obviously the fans are going to back Sami Zayn, given that he is of Arabic descent, of Syrian descent. And before we kind of get into it, I don't think, and you got to correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the pants represent Palestine. I think it represents his country, Syria. If you look at the Syrian flag, it is green, red, and the stars in the middle, which he has on his pants. But he is an advocate for Palestine as well. So that's already well known. So it could be a double message, but I'm pretty sure he is representing the Syrian flag on his pants there. But he had the home crowd. The fans are very much cheering for him. And it put Kross in a position where he wasn't getting supported and rooted by from the crowd. I think if this was in home soil in the United States, the crowd would have resonated to Karrion Kross, and the pop would have been much louder. And I should have thought about that before I put a bet on this, by the way, on Karrion Kross to win. And I should have probably thought about that, given that he was at this match, and I think at this place. And I think the reason why they did that is because they sort of wanted to protect Karrion Kross, but they also wanted to give Sami Zayn the victory, and that's probably the best way to do it. So Sami Zayn does get the victory here. Kross performed pretty decent, I would say. Not enough for me to really back him in terms of getting that push, and Michael Cole said it perfect. This is his chance for him to get that. But I would have liked to see him fight this in a US crowd, and I think he would have got the victory. I think he would have had a lot more backing from the crowd, because it didn't seem like the Saudis really supported him like he has been getting supported in the States, and that might be because he's versing Sami Zayn. And I think Sami Zayn won because of the fact that, as Matt has also mentioned, and I've seen, people are putting in that idea that Sami Zayn will eventually win a world championship. And given that the Royal Rumble is set to be in Saudi Arabia next year, it looks as though, and looking at, because I like to look at the betting odds in Australia, Sami Zayn is the current favourite to win the 2026 Royal Rumble. And given that he's got that support, given that he is a little bit of Arabic descent, he will get that hometown feel from the crowd in Saudi Arabia. And given that it's going to be in, the Royal Rumble is going to be there, I think that Sami Zayn is going to win the Royal Rumble. It's going to be my very, very early prediction until then. A lot could happen since then, but I think that's what they're aiming for. And I think when Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble, they're going to give him a main event moment, exactly how they did with Jey Uso, exactly how they've done with Cody Rhodes, and before that, what they did with Kofi Kingston, and what they've also done with Daniel Bryan as well. Obviously, when WrestleMania comes along, a lot of these superstar baby faces that have been serving for a long time get their WrestleMania moment, and I think this is where Sami Zayn will be the next in line for that. He has been a serviceable superstar, an employee of the company for a very long time. Yes, he's never won a world championship, and I think he does deserve one given all that and whatnot, but I think that WWE has got to do a really careful job, or got to be very careful in sort of pushing this across, because I think if it gets overstimulated and overused, it becomes draining and kind of underwhelming. You kind of want Sami Zayn to come out as an underdog, and you kind of want this to sort of not be overpushed to the fact that he gets spoiled for us. Because, as I mentioned, I already know that Sami Zayn's got a big chance of winning the Royal Rumble next year. And I think that's when they're going to eventually make him World Championship. They're already talking about it now in June. So definitely, most likely will happen. It's just, let's not, WWE, please drain it for like 6 months to the point where we're just over the fact that they keep saying he'll be a world champion one day. But him getting the victory here makes sense because of that. Also makes sense because he's in Saudi Arabia, and it doesn't really hurt Karrion Kross too much, nor I hope it doesn't there. But they should continue to push Karrion Kross, give him more time on Raw, let him speak on the mic, let him get a few victories on Raw too, and on Main Event as well. And hopefully he continues to be relevant and get another PLE match. Like SummerSlam's there, it's 2 nights, there's plenty of room for Karrion Kross to be there. I think he's such an interesting character, and I think that, as I say every week, he deserves to be up there because of the fact that he's very, very good on the mic. He's an appealing character. He is a pure heel. He's got the look, and yeah, this victory won't bum him too much because he was able to kind of keep up with Sami. It's just, given that the situation, as I mentioned before, it sort of does make sense in the end. But I got the prediction wrong, and I lost some money too, which was unfortunate as well. We then get the United States Championship match between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, which I also sort of got wrong as well. But looking at it, this was closer than what I thought. And before we get into the match itself, I'm so happy Solo won. Solo Sikoa has gone from just an enforcer with no words to what he is now, and I love it. I'm really backing Solo's character. As much as I love Jacob Fatu, I don't think it hurts him as much as you think. He's eventually going to get that title back, but Solo thoroughly deserves the belt at the moment. And the way he set up the bloodline, obviously we're all over it. I think we've had enough of this bloodline business. We've got Hakulo showing up, Tonga Loa making his return, which was pretty cool, helping out Solo, and then obviously JC Mateo coming in to help. It was because of outside interference he got the win, especially with Hakulo coming out and chokeslamming Fatu onto the commentary table. And that led to Solo hitting the spike. And I got to say, Fatu sold that spike really well, doing that basic backflip as he got spiked, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, Solo is the US champion, and I love it. I love it. His bloodline is up and firing. Yes, as mentioned, I know we're probably sick of the bloodline. It's weird seeing JC Mateo. It's weird seeing Haikulu. But at the end of the day, I think Solo as a character himself thoroughly deserves this. He's extremely funny. I think he's found his character, and fans are starting to really gravitate to Solo. No one is upset. No one is upset that he dropped that Fatu dropped the belt. Everyone understands that Fatu is a powerhouse and a beast and is eventually probably going to get that title back. But this just elevates Solo, and I think Solo last year was extremely underrated in his character work. Obviously, at the start of it, people were kind of questioning whether he could be the tribal chief or whatnot. But that year really changed Solo and made him extremely significant to a point where he gets a mid-card belt, which he deserves, but he also has a new bloodline to lead, and now just kind of continues to grow in terms of his character and what he'll do next. And Fatu's going to need all the help he can get. He's got Jimmy Uso on his side, but he's going to need some more soldiers too. So look out for that one. We may see some more feuds between the bloodline. That keeps evolving. The Samoan tree is massive. Even the Tongan tree is massive. So it's great to see that kind of still developing. Although people are over it, people need to understand that Solo being that way with getting support strengthens his character as well as being a leader. And he is sort of putting superstars over. He really did put Fatu over the map, joining his team and stuff. So obviously Fatu did it himself, but at the end of the day, he made a solid contribution to that. And I think getting the title was the right move. And yeah, we'll have to see what happens if those two. Their feud is certainly not over, but it certainly makes it a lot more interesting there, given that SummerSlam is around the corner. And if Fatu did win, then I wouldn't have known what Solo would have done. So this was great. This was great booking. We then have the match between Jade Cargill and Asuka. I predicted Jade Cargill win this match. It was a short match. She botched the finish, but did get the victory here. So she's going to probably most likely take on Tiffany Stratton. I was surprised that Asuka got this deep, but a lot of fans really love Asuka, and the Saudi crowd was gravitating towards her. But didn't get the victory here. Maybe she might move on to versus Io Sky, as I mentioned before. Who knows? As for Jade Cargill, she's improving in the ring, but I think WWE need to let go of her being a babyface. Everyone is not really supporting Jade Cargill because, as Matt has also mentioned, and as I've noticed, she hasn't connected with the crowd at all. What I would think would be the best move for her is to turn heel and just pretty much build on this arrogance that she already has, because you can tell she's already arrogant and she thinks she's God's gift, which is great. And you want that in a superstar, and you want to have confidence, but you can use that as material to kind of get people to dislike you. And I think that's what should happen, because she's a fierce, powerful woman. She's extremely talented. She's got the look, but I don't think people gravitate to her being a babyface. They would rather see her wreak havoc on opponents and just go at it with the crowd and basically just flex her muscles in front of us and just tell us how we hate on her and all these things. And I think people will gravitate to that more rather than her trying to impress everyone, because no one seems to be impressed by her at this point. So I think a heel turn would do a world of good. And what I think is going to happen, and it's an early prediction for you guys, Naomi is going to cash in when Jade Cargill wins this belt. And I think she will beat Tiffany Stratton, because I don't think Tiffany Stratton is doing anything at the moment that's significant. She's also one that's very arrogant and obnoxious. And yes, she's got very good hype, but it's not as much as I would have expected. I expected her to get more hype from the crowd as well, given that she did turn babyface, but hasn't seemed to get to the heights that I've thought it could be. But anyways, I think Jade will beat her, and then what I'll think is she'll get cashed in on Naomi, and they'll create the feud there, and you'll see more people will support Naomi over Jade Cargill in this. And that's the concern. When you have the quote-unquote babyface not getting the support and Naomi most likely getting more support than her, that's how you know that the babyface isn't connecting with the fans. There's no reason for her to cheer. And that's why I think just a heel turn would make the most sense for Jade. And I think that would change her character. You saw what it did with Roman Reigns when he became the tribal chief, and the difference that it made for his career. It's something that I think should most definitely happen there. But she gets the victory here. It was the right move, given that we've got that Naomi wild card with the Money in the Bank briefcase. So I'm not surprised there. And she really has improved in ring. So I have to say that as well. We then finish off with the main event, and that's John Cena taking on CM Punk. We had a lot of AAs kicked out. CM Punk seems to love getting kicked out of AAs as well. They're not the same as they used to be, a lot more slower, but still a pretty solid performance there. We had Punk countering with the go to sleep a few times, Cena not tapping out. But then at the point where John Cena was about to take the belt and smack CM Punk, it showed that he turned the leaf, which was something surprising, and I think that's going to hype up for eventually when John Cena decides to go back to being a babyface and apologize to what he's done. You can see that there is a small breakthrough there. He threw the title, and that did nearly cost him because CM Punk ended up hitting the go to sleep. But we then had Seth Rollins make his way. Oh, we did before that have the ref bump, which was always going to happen in John Cena matches because that's been the trend at the moment. But instead of John Cena grabbing the belt and hitting Punk across the face, which is what I thought would have happened, Seth Rollins made his entrance. We had Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker come in. We saw, I think, Punk trying to jump out and charge with Reed and stuff, but he nearly landed on his head, which was pretty dangerous. So Bron did a really good job, and Bronson Reed did a really good job at picking Punk up, but then gave him a double spine buster through the table. They both did. The table did break, but it was pretty slow. I don't think they kind of connected on that one that well. We then had Rollins coming in, signaling to the referee, and you saw Charles Robinson running down the ring. It's always a classic when Charles Robinson runs down the ring, but we had John Cena hit him with a shoulder tackle. I'm surprised that Charles, at his age, is still taking those bumps. But Cena got into Seth Rollins' face and stopped him, gave him an attitude adjustment, and then Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker came into the ring. Then Penta came out, which was quite surprising. I sort of didn't expect Roman Reigns to come, but that would have made more sense. But maybe Cody to come, given that he's fighting him. But Penta came out, which was interesting. Anyway, then Sami Zayn came out next. They sort of fought out at the front of the stage, and then Penta jumped off the ramp and basically knocked out both Bron and Sami Zayn. And then as Bronson was in the ring and when he was about to get up for the tsunami, Punk shoved Reed off the top rope. Then Cena gave him an attitude adjustment. And then Punk and Cena were basically face to face. And Punk, while he's in a match trying to win a title, decides that was the perfect time to shake John Cena's hand and say, "Are we all good?" Which is pretty stupid given that you're trying to go for a title while you're shaking hands. But it might have been a trap from Punk, who knows? Because once Cena shook his hand and hugged him, Cena had the same heel look that he did when he turned on Cody Rhodes, went for the nut shot, but Punk was ready to counter with the go to sleep. But as he had John Cena with the go to sleep, Rollins hit Punk with the briefcase and then hit a curb stomp on him, and then Cena threw Rollins at the ring and then pinned Punk for the victory there. So a lot of variables here. One that strikes to me is an eventual Survivor Series War Games match. I don't know if they're doing War Games this year, but a 5v5 between Seth Rollins' faction, whatever it's going to be, and John Cena. That could happen at Survivor Series, given that they had this head-to-head, because both superstars have a different vision of wrestling in the future. So that might be interesting going forward. But the main thing is obviously setting up for an eventual SummerSlam match where we have Seth Rollins and CM Punk again going at it. So just as I thought CM Punk pretty much avoided Seth Rollins without this sort of finishing and just going straight to John Cena, this sets up the match for them. And hopefully they end it here, because I think we've seen this has gone for nearly 2 years now, and I think it's time that they're never going to like each other, but I think it's time that this feud gets put to bed and it finishes off at SummerSlam. I suspect that Punk should get the victory there, but John Cena keeps the title, which is what we all expected. But the way it was finished was great. It was perfect. I think the perfect way to sort of finish it. And it's sad that that's going to be the last time CM Punk and John Cena will face each other. But yeah, John Cena gets the victory. He's going to take on Cody Rhodes in a rematch. And it looks like Seth Rollins is probably going for the WWE Championship instead of the World Heavyweight Championship as it's presently constructed now. But that could change. But yeah, that's pretty much been the Night of Champions and main event review. So thank you very much for tuning in. It was a long one, but a good one too. We'll be back to normal proceedings next week, and then the week after we'll have Saturday night's main event. So we'll do probably the similar thing as we did today. And SummerSlam is pretty much just over a month away. So we're already onto SummerSlam, guys, which is crazy. I still remember WrestleMania like it was yesterday, and I still remember John Cena turning heel as if it was like a week ago. So these PLEs are coming in quick, and as much as people probably complain that it's a lot, I personally don't mind it. The only thing is that obviously the storylines are a bit rushed, but I think after Saturday night's main event, we might see more of a build up to SummerSlam. But it gives opportunity for some feuds that can't fit on the main event to go on. So like the World Heavyweight Championship match, Night of Champions, they didn't have the chance to put that in. They got a chance to put it 2 weeks later. And I think that's why they've got so many PLEs, because there's so many superstars and there's so many different matches that need to happen in feuds. So to split it out on 2 weeks is pretty smart. At least you don't have to wait 2 months until Gunther defends the belt, or when Io Sky decides to defend the belt as well. So yeah, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next week. It's been another main event review, so cheers for listening.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.